Hi, boys and girls. This week, we're going to be reviewing fractions. Specifically, we're going to be reviewing comparing fractions and equivalent fractions. This video is over equivalent fractions. So right here, you can see that I have two fraction bars. And my first fraction bar is shaded, is cut into fourths, and I'm going to shade 3/4. And my second fraction bar is cut into 12ths. And I need to figure out, or I want to figure out, how many parts is that? Now, when we have fraction bars like we do in this example, it's easy, but you're not going to have those. So let's look at how to do that again. So here we have 3/4, and we want to know how many 12ths. Now, depending on how your teacher taught this to you originally, you may or may not do it exactly the same, but the idea is basically the same. The concept is the same. So we're looking here at our denominator, and we need to think in our heads, how does 4 become 12? How do I turn a 4 into a 12? And this is where your multiplication chart can be real handy. So if I think about it for a minute, 4 times 3 would be equal to 12. Well, remember, what I do on the bottom, I have to do to the top. What I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So I would put times 3 on top, and 3 times 3 is 9. And my students learned to draw a blocky 1 around this, because 3/3 is equal to 1. So 3/4 is equal to 9/12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if I'm very careful with that, I should be able, I did not mean to take that away, sorry. There we go. There we go. And you can line them up, and you'll see that both bars have the same amount shaded. So they're equal, they're equivalent. Okay, that's one way to use the blocky 1. And I'll do a couple more examples in a minute. But I also want to show you another handy little trick that I like to use. Let me see if I can find a different color here. I'm going to switch to green. So if I'm talking about 3/4, okay? One way to find equivalent fractions are just to write your multiples. So this would be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18, for example. And then you write your multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And as you can see, if you line them up kind of neatly on your paper like I did, you've made some fractions there. Let's see here. So I can draw a fraction bar right here, and see here is 3/4, and look, there's 9/12, our answer. But it also shows you that 3/4 is equal to 15 20ths or 12 16ths right there. So writing out your multiples, which are the answers to your multiplication facts, are really simple. So if you've got a multiplication chart, you can just look on there and kind of find equivalent fractions. Okay, so there's equivalent fraction review, super quick. Let's start over. Yes, I want to clear all my work. And let's look at another example. Let's look at, it won't let me do that. So let me see here. Let me see if it'll let me do a 7. Okay, so let's say I have 7ths, and I'm trying to do 21st, okay? And I am definitely not going to try and use my little clickers there to shade. I'll try. I can do 2/7, and then we want to find out how many 21st. So again, let's do this and that color. So I have 2/7, and I want to know how many 21st that would be. All right. And so again, using your multiplication chart, I'm just going to very quickly write down my 2's because I can do those real quick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm going to stop there because I don't know how far I need to go, but I don't want to spend too long writing them. And then I'm going to do my 7's, and I'm going to have to use my little head carefully. I'm going to go 7 and maybe count on my fingers. What comes next will be 14, and then I got to count up again, and that'd be 21. And I'm going to stop there because look over here. That's what we've got, 21. So here it is. So I know that this is a 6. Now, why? Let's look at it. If we use our brain powers again, how does 7 become 21? That's times 3 times 3 on top, and there it is, 6/21. And again, if you have fraction bars in 20, you would never have 21st, a fraction bar cut into 21 pieces. And that's why you need to know about blocky 1 or using your multiplication facts, because that way you can do any number. All right, let's look at one more example. Yes, I want to clear all my work. This time, I'm not going to put my fraction bars because there's one situation you're going to face next year in 5th grade where you have to simplify your answers. And so, for example, you might solve a problem and get an answer of 18/24. All right, so here, it's always a little bit tricky. This is why knowing those multiplication facts is so important. So let's say this is our problem. And we're looking for the denominator, the bottom number here. We have to think about, how does 18 become 3, or how does 3 become 18? I like to go that way because I can think about that in terms of multiplication. So again, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to start writing my 3's. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. Oh, wait, there it is. There's 18. So here is where I'm looking at that 18. So I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 3 times 6 is 18. So, what times 6 is 24? What times 6 is 24? Well, now I can write my 6's. 6, 12, 18, 24. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yep, that'll work. So that would be a 4. Whoops, that's a sloppy 4. Sorry about that. Let me fix it again. Okay, 4. Now it looks good. 3/4. Now, a lot of you really need to spend time this summer. Since we've been out of school, I would strongly encourage you to practice those multiplication and division facts, because what you really need to be able to do here, and I'm going to go over here and switch colors again, sorry. And if you're given 18/24, 18/24, you're going to need to be able to use division to simplify it. Okay, so I'm going to go over that on the next page. Now, simplifying 18/24 is not hard. The strategy I always would teach my middle school kids, because it's just easier and faster, and let's face it, we want to make it easy and simple, is you ask yourself, can I divide my numbers by 2? Can I divide them by 3? Can I divide them by 5? One of those will usually work. In this case, looking at 18/24, I know that I can divide by 2 because they're both even. And now 18 divided by 2 is 9, And 24 divided by 2 is 12. And I know that because I can look on my multiplication chart and look at my 2's. Those are pretty easy. Now I want to look at this one because I'm not done yet. I need to think about 9/12. Can I divide by 2? The answer is no. 9 is an odd number, which means 2 won't work. But what about 3? If you look on your multiplication chart, on your 3's, you should see 9 and 12. That means now I can divide by 3. Top and bottom, remember what you do to the top, you've got to do to the bottom with a fraction. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3/4 cannot be divided. Now, how do I know that? Well, look, your numerator, 3, is 1 smaller than your denominator, 4. And that's generally a clue that it's in simplest form. So that's something you really need to make sure you might want to practice on in the next few months. Just practice your multiplication division facts and look at that because that one is super tricky. All right. Okay, guys, if you need us, you know where to get hold of us. You are more than welcome, as always, to give us, send us an email. And if you get stuck on a problem, email your math teacher and say, hey, I need help on number 7, help, and we'll be happy to help you. And email is the easiest way to do that. You guys have a wonderful week. We all miss you. Bye.